Find the area enclosed by the curves y equal to 2x squared and y squared equal to 4x. So let's begin. We have the curve y equal to 2x squared and y squared equal to 4x. Now we are asked to find the area enclosed by these two curves. Now first let's sketch the curve. Now at the point where y is equal to 0, for this, now you have 0 equal to 2x squared. This will give you, this will now give us x squared equal to 0. So x is equal to what? 0. So at this point, we have y equals to 0, x is equal to what? 0. About we have plus 0 or plus 0 and then minus 0. If there is anything like that, because of the square. Now for the second, let's finish for this first equation. Now let's look at the place where you have a stationary point, or where you have the maximum or the minimum point. Now let's differentiate this equation. Now this is y equal to 2x squared. So the differential, which is dy all over dx, is equal to what? 4x. So it's equal to 4x. So at the point where the y dx is equal to 0, that is our stationary point. So 4x equal to 0 means x is equal to 0 at that point. So it's at the same point where y is equal to 0. Now this expression d, so at this point, now let's look at the value for d square y all over dx squared will give you what? 4. Meaning that d square y all over dx squared is what? Is greater than 0. So at the point where this is greater than 0, it is what we call the minimum point. So on the graph, so the minimum point will be here like this. It will be like this. At this point where x is 0 and y is 0, so that curve will be in this form, this curve. So this is 2x squared, where y is equal to 2x squared. This is the curve. So now let's look at the second one, which is this. So the second one, you have y squared equal to 4x. Now let's assume x. Let's make x a function. So you have x is equal to y squared all over 4. Now let's now look for the value of x. Well, let's look for the value of y where x is equal to 0. So you have y squared all over 4 equal to what? 0. Meaning y is equal to 0. That is plus 0 and minus 0. Now let's say the differential of dx all over dy will give you what? Will give us 2y all over 4, which is y all over 2. Now where the x dy is equal to 0, you have your y to be equal to 0. So now this diagram will just be drawn in this other form. Now you have something like this. Now, because if you differentiate this further, if you have the square x all over dy square, you have what? 1 all over 2. So since d square x all over dy square is greater than 0, so it's a minimum point on the x-axis. See, on the x-axis. So that is it. Now let's now combine the equation. Let's combine both of them together. Now combining those two drawings, you have the first one to be like this. Now you have the let me see, this is, you have the second one to be like this. So this is at point 0. Now, so this is a shaded portion. Now we need to find the point where the two curves meet. Now the 2 points, 2 coordinates, the first coordinate is at 0. The next one we don't know here, so we need to look for where the two curves meet. So we start by solving for the value of x. Now this one is y equal to 2x squared, while this is y equal to 4, is y squared equal to 4x. So now let's now work it out. Let's look for the value where they intersect. So the value where they intersect, y is equal to 2x squared, and the other one, y squared is equal to 4x. So where they intersect, now what we do, this is equation 1 and this is equation 2. We substitute y equal to 2x squared into this equation. Now making y and this equal, now you have 2x squared all squared equal to 4x. So now if you square this one inside the bracket, you have 4x raised to power 4 equal to 4x. So the 4 will cancel itself. So now you have x raised to power 4 minus x equal to 0. Now let's factor this out. You have x is equal to x raised to power 3 minus 1 equal to 0. So now this x raised to power 3 minus 1 can be further be factorized. So now what can factorize this x cube minus 1? So you have x minus 1. So x minus 1, let's use x minus 1 to divide x cube minus 1. So x divided by x cube, you have x squared. Using x squared to multiply this, you have x cube times minus x squared. So use x squared to multiply x minus 1, you have this. Now let's minus. So when you minus, this will cancel out. You have this now becomes x squared minus 1. So let's divide this x squared by with x. So x squared divided by x will give you plus x. So plus x times this, you have x square minus x. So you subtract again, this will cancel out this, you have x minus 1. So x divided by this, you have plus 1. Plus 1 times x, you have x plus 1 times minus 1, you have minus 1. So when you minus, you have 0. So that means we have further changed this expression from this form to x bracket x minus 1 times x squared plus x plus 1 equal to 0. Now when you look at it now, you have x is equal to 0 or x minus 1 is equal to 0 or x squared plus x plus 1 is equal to 0. Now it means that x is equal to 0 or x is equal to 1. And you have x squared plus x plus 1 equal to 0. So this, to solve this, let's use the quadratic formula. So from here, the quadratic formula is minus b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. Now from this expression, b is equal to 1, a is equal to 1, c is equal to 1. So now let's substitute this value into this formula. So you have x to be equal to minus 1 plus or minus the square root of 1 minus 4 divided by 2. This will give us minus 1 plus or minus 3 divided by 2. So this will give us minus 1 plus or minus imaginary number the square root of 3 divided by 2. So that means it's not part of what we're looking for. So what we're looking for is x equal to 0 and x equal to 1. So now let's now sketch the curves. So you have something like this. You have the other one this other way. So here is 0. Here is 1. So we have a shaded portion like this. Now this is y equal to 2x squared, while this one is y squared equal to 4x. Now from this expression, now if you check, the y squared equal to 4x is on top, while y equal to 2x squared is below. So it means that the area between these points 1 and 0 for y squared equal to 4x. Let me say y squared equal to 4x is y1. The x is greater than this other one. So it will be, so since this is below, it will now be minus between this, let's say this one is y2, the x. So it will now be minus because now this one, the area, this area here is this one below here. The area, let me call this A1 and this is A2. Now, this area below this curve is A2, while this area below these curves here is the whole of this place. From here down to the whole of this place is what? A1. So to get this area where they enclosed, you have A1, which is the whole of this, minus this one, the minus A2. So you have only this. So that is the area, enclosed area. So from this expression, now y1 will now be, since y square is equal to 4x, so y1 will now be the square root of 4x. You say plus or minus the square root of 4x. So but from this expression, you understand that where they enclose is on the positive side. So the one we're going to use is y equal to plus square root of 4x. So this will now be plus 2x raised to power 1 all over 2. That is it. So now, that is our y1. Then but our y2 is what? 2x squared. So we're going to substitute these expressions. So now we have, in this one, you have the square, the integral of 1 between 1 and 0 of 2x raised to power 1 all over 2 dx minus the integral 1 all over 0 2x squared dx. So now this can also be written in this form. By combining both of them, you say the integral of this bracket 2x raised to power 1 all over 2 minus 2x squared dx. So now let's now integrate. So if we integrate this, you have 2x raised to power 1 all over 2 plus 1 divided by 1 all over 2 plus 1 minus 2x raised to power 2 plus 1 divided by 2 plus 1. This is 1 and then 0. So we now have 2 raised to power 2 times x raised to power 3 all 2 divided by 3 all over 2 minus 2 times x raised to power 3 divided by 3, 1 and 0. Now, this expression here will now be 4x raised to power 3 all over 2 divided by 3 minus 2x cubed all over 3, 1 and 0. So now, we now have, when you now substitute, when you say x, where when x is equal to 1, you have 4 all over 3 minus 2 all over 3, then minus this one will now be 4 raised to power 0, 4 times 0 raised to power 3 over 2 divided by 3 minus 2 times 0 raised to power 3 all over 3. Now the whole of this is 0. Now we are left with 4 all over 3 minus 2 all over 3. So the answer is 4 minus 2 all over 3, which is 2 all over 3 square units. This is the area enclosed. The area enclosed here. So thank you for watching to the end. Do have a nice day. Also do well to subscribe to my channel so that when next I make new videos, you'll be the first to be notified. Thank you and God bless you.